Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tech Files Dose of Common Sense. If common sense is supposed to be so common, how come it seems like no damn buddy has it? And good morning, everybody, or good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to the Dose of Common Sense for July the 15th, 2017. How y'all doing? All right, let's get started here. First up is going to be Amazon and the HTC U11. Alexa is actually about to go live on the HTC U11. Support starts rolling out imminently, which means it should be coming out within the next, I'd say, 24 to 48 hours. I hope Alexa does as well for you on the HTC. Actually, I hope it does better than a certain one is doing for me and my Galaxy S8 Plus. It starts with a B, ends with a Y, and it's known as Bixby. And it's a dumpster fire, for those of you interested in knowing. This thing has activated about 17 different times in the 3 hours that we've updated it, and I have never said the word Bixby once. So if that is any indication right there, I'm really not looking forward to the full release of this thing. This thing absolutely is like a comet flying to Earth. Somebody better fix it. They better fix it fast. Otherwise, that's going to be the first thing that gets disabled when it goes live. So, next up... Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop that one right there for a second. So, how many of you, speaking of Alexa... How many of you were listening to last night's podcast when I was saying something about Amazon was going to give their customers, Amazon was going to give their developers customers information unless, of course, you opted out of data sharing? Apparently, a lot of you were, because I don't think I've ever seen an email box that full. And I'm just going to say it like this. You have the option to opt out of it. You do not have to give them your private information or your recordings or anything like that. And as a matter of fact, you will be able to opt out. So just to give you a heads up on that. Okay, now that we've covered that one, and we now know that Alexa works a lot better than Bixby's dumpster fire, let's move on to something that confounds the mind, and if I was to not understand this, I would have to be high. And apparently it has to do with LG, Huawei, the Snapdragon 820 and 821, and AptX. For those of you who are not complete and utter technical nerds, let me help you describe what AptX is. It is a codec that's found on Bluetooth. Mainly it's Bluetooth 4.0 and up, if I'm remembering this correctly. It's an audio codec that helps improve the quality of audio going over the Bluetooth channel into your ears from the phone in question. So to sum it up, basically AptX enables you to get better audio than you would have without AptX. So what is confounding to the mind? Well, what is confounding to the mind is AptX is available on the LG G4, which is a 2015, 2015 release. Okay. So this came out April or May actually it was May of 2015. So that was the G4. We are on the G6. Okay. So to give the timeline a little bit better of a development, the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P both had the excuse me, I'm sorry. So the G4 has a Snapdragon 808. The Nexus 5X and the 6P had Snapdragon, I want to say A10, and I'm probably right on that. So it should be in the system architecture on the chip that should enable AptX. Okay, should. Given the fact it's a new, well, same year, but a newer version of the chip. If you want me to go back into the controversy surrounding the A10, send me an email, show@techfiles.com or techfilesmedia.com. I'm sorry. Follow me on Twitter @techfiles or @techfilesmedia, and I'll be able to explain it for you. We're actually do a special broadcast on that. So, AptX makes your audio sound better. Basically, it came to being in 2015. AptX HD is the new one that's going out now. However, the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P will not have the AptX codec available on their Bluetooth, even though it has the Snapdragon 810 and the 808 has it. For the love of God, why? I mean, if you want the people that are big supporters of the Nexus line, and Google for that matter, if you want them to keep your product and not run to the nearest cell phone dealer or even pawn shops nowadays, or Aaron's is selling phones, if you want to go that far, okay? So people will run to Aaron's, people will run to Rent-A-Center if they have to get a phone that is more up to date than the pieces of junk that you say will not have AptX or AptX HD on the phones. Okay, that alone is cause for a tech nerd to sit there and ram their head repeatedly against a brick wall. This is ludicrous. You have a phone that is prone to boot loops that will have the most up-to-date audio codec that you can have. Yet you have two quote-unquote flagships that won't. It's completely confounding to me. The link to the story will be in the show's description. By all means, read it. You might get a better explanation than what I'm giving you. I doubt that. You'll get just as good of one, because Jules Wayne is a great writer. Next up is going to be our wonderful brothers and sisters who happen to have Sprint. So, do you remember when Sprint was in informal talks with T-Mobile for a merger? And if I'm right, I actually reported on this as well, that they actually suspended the talks because Comcast, and I do believe it was not necessarily, no, it wasn't Time Warner, it was Comcast and Charter were in a 2-month negotiation cycle, exclusive negotiation cycle. Well, let's add something to the mix. Apparently, Warren Buffett is interested, or someone's trying to interest Warren Buffett into contribute billions of dollars to Sprint. This is coming from, I'm sorry folks, we had a little bit of an audio issue. So basically this is coming from SoftBank. Okay, somebody at SoftBank is trying, John Malone and Warren Buffett, someone's trying to contribute billions of dollars into Sprint's coffers. This may be a prelude to something, I don't know. It may be Charter or Time Warner's desire to add to said negotiations, perhaps. I mean, Warren Buffett doesn't usually invest in companies that are of Sprint's caliber. Not to knock on Sprint at all, but they were losing about 1 million subscribers per quarter at one time. So I'm not exactly certain why they would do something like this, but apparently that's the rumors going on. That was as of about 10 o'clock on the 14th. So if anybody can make heads or tails of it or provide anybody from an explanation, let us know. And we'll be more than happy to listen to the arguments, believe me. Okay, so going from something that is confounding to something that is borderline stupid. AT&T and Time Warner, they're trying to shove the merger down our throats. Federal Trade Commission said they weren't going to get involved with it. They're going to do this anyway. So they're going to go through all this work to merge the companies so they can separate them again. So reports are coming down that once AT&T and Time Warner merge, they will split into two separate groups. One will be the Telecom, and one will be media. Now wait. Hold on. You said one will be media and one will be telecom, right? Yeah. That wasn't a glitch. One will be media, one will be telecom. They will split into the two companies once the merger is complete. This is why I'm here, guys. This is a dose of common sense. My job is to give an opinion, tech news. I'm trying to make sense of the tech news for you. This is basically because AT&T is going to be effing large when this merger is complete. And there's some people at AT&T that is very, very good. They're very, very good with media. And the reason being is because DirecTV. And then there's people at AT&T that are really, really good with telecom, or at least they're supposed to be. So this is the reason that they're going to split into two different groups. The money's still going to go to the same place, folks. It's just going to have two different addresses, if that even happens. Go figure. My bet is that Time Warner's going to keep its headquarters, and that's going to be the media, and that AT&T will keep its headquarters, and that's going to be the telecom. Just a guess. I could be completely and utterly wrong, but you never know. So what do you think of the AT&T and Time Warner merger? Personally, I think it'll be good for media services. I think it might be good for the telecommunications industry and the merging of such. I think it might even assist people that are very into cord cutting. Maybe. But I don't think it's going to be much use other than that. So, you never know. I mean, it might be something that people are interested in. And if they are, I would highly suggest you read the article. It will be in the show's description. I'm not really sure. I mean, we're going to have to wait until these companies merge. So let's step back from the carrier scene and let's go more into what's coming up, such as the V30 from LG. Unfortunately, I don't have a link to the description on this. This is one of the things of trying to go through a podcast, folks. Unfortunately, you will hear noises from outside. At least it's not my cats. So the V30, we're getting more and more renders from that all the time, as well as the Pixel XL. The V30 is going to have a single screen. And screw any legacy, screw any history. they're gonna basically streamline the product and go to a single screen. They're also going to announce it on August 31st. So my personal opinion is it's going to be great for the phone. Unfortunately, it's not going to be so great for us tech geeks or nerds out there that like having the V series phones with 2 screens. It's basically going to render that useless. And if LG don't put marketing behind the V30, that's going to be useless too. So it's like the old saying, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there, it doesn't make a sound. You have to actually market the phone. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. Crickets. This is all you're going to hear. If LG don't market the phone, the buzz through the background noise, that's all you're going to hear. LG, do some marketing, please. Surprise us. I'd be impressed. Okay. So next up, we're going to be talking about the Pixel XL. So the Pixel XL is going to have the Pixel XL is going to be 5.99 inches. It's going to have the Snapdragon 835. It's going to be squeezable, although it's not going to be manufactured by HTC. This one's going to be manufactured by LG. And it's going to have absolutely, positively 0 headphone jacks whatsoever. Really? Someone refresh my memory. Did the Pixel XL from this year, did this have a headphone jack? Because I can understand trying to get away from the headphone jack to a certain extent, because it enables the new audio codecs to actually function, and it makes it better to a certain extent as well. But you're ditching an analog. Don't try to fix something if it ain't broken here, ladies and gentlemen. We've used headphone jacks for 100+ years. I mean, granted, if you don't like the fact that it doesn't have a headphone jack and you don't want to plug into the USB-C, very simply, hey, let's go into AptX. This one will have it. Screw the Nexus, but this one will have it. Go figure. I started having issues with them ditching the headphone jacks back in when they released the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus, and they had no headphone jacks, and I'm like, why? It's a standard that's been around for 100 years, and it's worked. Why get rid of it? Don't fix it if it's not broken. But apparently, they're still plugging with it. So, excuse me, folks. So if you decide to get the Pixel or the Pixel XL, or even if you decide to go with iOS and get the iPhone 8 or the iPhone X or whatever in God's name it's going to be, do that. Apparently that it's going to work really, really well. And if you have an issue with the fact that it's not going to have a headphone jack, and you still want to get a headset that'll work, and you don't feel like spending $160 some odd on ear pods, that's another one that anybody that was sitting at Moscone Center or wherever they had the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus launch, I think that was the last one that they had at Infinite Loop. I just want to know what the average person that was thinking, that was like, yes, no headphone jack. I don't know. Maybe they were having oxygen deprivation when they went in. Who knows? So here's my particular issue with this. If you're going to make a phone, if you were going to make a phone, let's just say that time suddenly stood still. There. Now you are on your way to making a phone. What would you put on the phone? What would you put in the phone? What services or apps would you make standard with the phone? And here's the important one. Let's pretend like you're part of a carrier. Whether it would be T-Mobile or Metro PCS, which hardly leaves any bloatware in their phones at all. Whether it be Telstra in Australia. Whether it be Vodafone in many places around the world. Whether it would be 3 or AT&T or Sprint or Verizon, who leaves more bloatware than a cruise ship that's fully loaded. Verizon's the only one that I know that would actually have people pay $5 for an app that you can use for free with Google. And anybody that doesn't know which app I'm referring to, I'm talking about VZW Maps. That's confounding to me. But if you were making a phone, what would you put in the phone? If it was my call, I would make it about the exact same. I would have the Snapdragon 835. I would actually have 128 gigs on the storage. I would basically have the 6-inch plus screen because I like big screens. I would try to go. I would not use a glass back. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with a glass back because the Galaxy S8 Plus, all they have is glass backs. I don't like thick cases, so I have an Urban Armor Gear plasma case. I actually was forced to have the Urban Armor Gear because the company that I worked for, when the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus came out, did not like the fact that I worked for that company and my phones were through T-Mobile. Here's a clue. The phones that I had through T-Mobile were actually bought by my wife. They were not bought by me. And when one gets a gift, they are not going to sit there and say no. So I walked in there. The Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus, they don't have any markings. It's not like you have a great big word on it that says T-Mobile. The only way they would ever know it was T-Mobile if they looked at the lock screen. Well, they looked at the lock screen for whatever reason. So they made me stick an Urban Armored Gear case onto the phone, made me pay $40 for it. I strongly disagreed with it, but whatever, not my particular call. So that particular issue was kind of stupid. But then I no longer work for Sprint. Right now, I'm in the middle of switching out. So all of my phones are T-Mobile as of right now. I have Urban Armor Gear on my S8 Plus. I have the Apple case. Yes, I have the Apple leather case, not the Kilimanjaro battery case, but I have the leather case on the phone. So I have no issues with either one. I just wish if I was to make a phone, I wouldn't have a glass back. End of story. So tell me what you would like on your phone. Show at techfilesmedia.com. Follow me at TechFiles on Twitter or TechFilesMedia on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram at TechFiles or TechFilesMedia. Pick your poison, folks. So, after we found out the Pixel XL is getting the Snapdragon 835 and they've decided to leave the headphone jack off the phone, then we get a no-brainer from Samsung. Actually, a couple of no-brainers. One is actually good. So, iFixit got a hold of the Galaxy Note Fan Edition. And for those of you who were living under a rock since August of 2016, I will go ahead and I will kill all the suspense right now. If anybody has seen the inside of a Note 7, you have seen the inside of a Galaxy Fan Edition. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is instead of a 3500 milliamp hour battery, you have a 3200 milliamp hour battery. Tomato, it's the same bleeping thing. It just has a lower power battery that fits inside the case. That way it doesn't get punctured or resemble a explosive object. So, good on Samsung for doing that. And then the second thing that Samsung decided to do was they have created an application called Games Live. This could have the potential of being a very, very tough competitor against Twitch as far as the mobile gaming platform goes. Because to this point, if you wanted to record your gameplay and broadcast it on a mobile phone, you had to use Twitch or YouTube Gaming, or record it and then upload it. But with Games Live, you have the ability to live broadcast your gameplay on your mobile phone to whichever service you would like to broadcast it at, including Samsung's, I'm sure, to be their own proprietary app, probably coming out soon. So there's advantages and disadvantages to everything, including Samsung coming out with a Games Live app that probably works a lot better than Twitch's, actually. But it's only available on recent Galaxy phones. So you might want to check the article. The link will be in the description. By all means, I'm kind of interested in it myself. So there is that. And they're still talking about the Kentucky Fried Chicken phone. Jesus God. So Huawei is still intent on making this phone. It will be available shortly. I will give you the availability when I get it. Huawei.com, by all means, if you can get a hold of this phone. It's actually not half bad of a phone. My problem is, God forbid you're sitting somewhere. If you're eating at a Popeyes and you happen to have the Kentucky Fried Chicken phone, are they going to throw you out? If you're sitting at Bush's Chicken, are they going to throw you out? Or are they going to make you put a Bush's sticker on the back of this phone? Oh, Jesus. Tell me what you think of the Kentucky Fried Chicken phone. Show at techfilesmedia.com, Twitter, Instagram at techfiles or techfilesmedia. That's going to do it for today, everybody. That's going to be the end of the week. Our next episode it actually might be this weekend. I'm not entirely sure. We're going to try might switch it up and do it a Monday night instead of Tuesday morning. But that's going to be it for right now. And I apologize if my vocal quality was somewhat poor. I've got a little bit of a messed up throat today. So, show at techfilesmedia.com, Twitter and Instagram at techfiles or techfilesmedia. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, digitalpodcast.com, tunein.com, Pocketcast. We're still available on SoundCloud, no matter what, as of right now. And of course, none of this would be possible without our hosting services at Spreaker.com. I thank them for their support. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this episode. I appreciate your listenership. I also appreciate your loyalty. Y'all have a wonderful night and a great weekend. And we will talk to y'all later. Stay classy.